Development. Senator, the Mexican president is making it clear, even though the president has, offered U.S. security forces to help out and get on top of this, and the cartel that was behind it, but they say no.
Neil, unfortunately, it's plain that the Mexican government can't handle this. President Lopez Obrador came into office almost a year ago saying that his strategy for dealing with the cartels is going to be more hugs, not bullets. That may work in a children's fairy tale, but in the real world, when 3 American women and 6 American children were gunned down and burned alive, the only thing that can counteract bullets is more and bigger bullets. If the Mexican government cannot protect American citizens in Mexico, then the United States may have to take matters into our own hands.
You know what was so incredible about this is that Americans are normally not targeted by these drug cartels for fear of the very hell of response that they could be looking at now. And that because these women and children were traveling in 3 SUVs, that they looked to this cartel like a competing cartel. Have you heard anything like that?
It's unclear exactly what caused the attack, Neil, but by some accounts of the surviving children, one of the women left her vehicle to try to indicate to the shooters that it was only women and children traveling. Right. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, Neil. You can't train a pit bull. You can't let a pit bull loose in your yard off a leash, and then when it attacks an innocent bystander say, oh, it didn't mean to, it was just a case of mistaken identity. That's why the United States may have to take matters into our own hands if President Lopez Obrador cannot protect American citizens inside of Mexico.
He's having a tough enough time protecting his own people, right? Crime has dramatically escalated there. I'm talking not just in this here in Mexico City or what have you, where it is a real concern. It's not all cartel related. It is just getting to be a powder keg. How do we even deal with that?
Unfortunately, Neil, murders have reached a new high in Mexico over the last year. Again, when you come into office promising hugs, not bullets, to counteract criminals, it's the same thing when you try to appease aggressive dictators or terrorists. They take it as a sign of weakness and they prey upon the innocent.
What do you think our response should be? If we can't identify the cartel involved, if that's the case, how do we on foreign soil find out who did?
Well, first, Neil, these cartels have already been designated as a transnational criminal organization. Congress ought to take a look at our laws and impose even harsher punishments on such criminal organizations, similar to what we do on foreign terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State. But I will say again, if the Mexican government can't protect Americans inside of Mexico, then America may have to take matters into our own hands. We showed that we can do it last week in Syria. We showed 8 years ago that we can do it in Pakistan during the Osama bin Laden raid. This is only 50 miles away from our southern border. We can certainly defend American citizens inside of Mexico if Mexico is not willing or able to do so.
You know, the local press there today on the online, the senator talked about how it's panicking, local residents, Mexicans, who are fearful for their lives and ironically looking more to escape to the United States. It could even complicate that.
That's a genuine problem, Neil. Unfortunately, in an attack like this that happened only 50 miles away from the border of Mexico and Arizona, it's a reminder of just how important it is to secure our border. We want to work with the government of Mexico, not just to protect our border, but also help them get control of the cartels that are making life inside of Mexico a living hell for their citizens and for ours. But in the meantime, we have to protect our citizens if the Mexican government cannot.
All right. So tragic, so unnecessary. Senator Cotton, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Neil.